Live too on Spreaker. So we are live, and I'm. Are you playing the video?
You know what? It's giving me a hard time here. Darn it! It's not letting me open that video for some reason.
Okay.
Here we go. Here we go. It's not in Skype.
It is.
You send.
I did send it in Skype. I sent it in the Skype chat.
I don't have any messages on Skype message.
Oh shit! Hold on. Let me send it again. Hold on, folks. We're just starting out here, so let me copy.
You sent it to the wrong thing.
Yeah, I bet I did. All right, and let me paste.
The problem is you called me on a 3-person call.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, let's.
We have 917. You know what? Hang up and call me back.
Why?
Okay, never mind.
No, I just.
It's going to have Howard's going to jump in on us.
What do you mean?
Oh. You called me on. Oh, dude, don't. I'm hanging up.
No. Why are you hanging up? Why are you hanging up?
I'm hanging up.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Oh, you fucking. You dildo. All right, he hung up on me, and I went, okay. Dude. All right, so I just hung up, and I want to call JP back. I want to just, okay. He is not on.
All right, man.
Okay,
just do your show. I
want to explain. Okay, can I just please explain? The 917 was a Blog Talk show.
Okay, it didn't matter. You didn't send me the video though. I went to a different line.
Yeah. But I just sent it to you again.
All right.
Now I have to call Blog Talk Radio again.
I'm going to set it all up again. This is crazy. Is it? Is your show going?
My show is going.
All right, just do your show, man. I'll call you. I'll call you in a few minutes.
All right. Oh Jesus. Okay. And there we go. Just having a few technical difficulties, folks. Nothing to worry about. Let me play this part real quick.
After all that you have done and all this homophobia that you have sowed. I'm so sorry. Well, certainly, it was never my intention. I do believe words matter. I believe we have to show. They do matter, and this right here is the result of a massacre stoked by people like you and the words that you put out into the world. And I want you to know that, and I want you to feel that deep inside. Like 49 people died because of the rhetoric that you put out there. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry you feel that would mean? What does that mean?
All right, folks, let me play my Mr. Midnight Movie A Go-Go. And yes.
Well, folks, this is the best show on Blog Talk and the best show on the internet. Shut up! Nobody, and I mean nobody, tackles issues like inflammatory talk. Shut up! And Mr. Midnight Movie, shut up! And Jewish producer, hello, son? Shut up! We tackle the things that nobody tackles. Hello, son? The man answers. Hello, son? Stop walking on eggshells. Shut up! Hello, son? Poopy Bone can get off his bloviated fat enchilada ass and start talking about La Raza. Hello, son?
Jocking it. Pimp Daddy Joe P. Jocking it. Pimp Daddy Joe P. And let's skip it all day long.
We're making a movie about white guilt. We're going to examine all these facts. Shut up! The civil rights movement today basically protects criminals. Okay, stop interrupting me. We're making a movie about white guilt. Okay, stop interrupting me. Shut up! We're making a movie about white guilt.
Done in a beautiful fashion. The documentary, at the same time, both prose and poetry.
It's not the noble movement that it was.
I'm above you on all these issues. I've been to the military. I have served in the capacity
Hey, what's up?
Protect your rights to bloviate. To protect your rights to bloviate.
I'm going to call in right now.
My style is you meth addict.
I've been to the military.
How do you know I'm a meth addict?
I'm above you on all these issues.
How do you know I'm a meth addict?
You haven't served in the military. In fact, you wouldn't be fit for the military.
I'm a racist, and I don't consider myself an especially evil person.
What's this got to do with the price of rice in China?
Well, I'm just telling you, I'm a better man than you are.
You're a narcissist. We've established that.
Okay, stop interrupting me. You could not defend the very rights you enjoy. You are the ultimate invalid, 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 invalid.
I put stock in you.
I'm wondering why Mr. Solutions isn't on every daily show.
What's this got to do with the price of rice in China?
Money. I'm into aviation. Money.
Power.
Money.
Power.
Man boobs.
Shut up.
I see why 60
Can you call in?
daddies kicked
Yeah, I'll
his
do that
ass
right now.
and kicked him out of the house early on.
Man boobs.
Shut up.
I'm going to talk
I gotta
over you as loud
reestablish.
as I can. I've got my speaker full blast to blow you away.
Shut up.
Mr. Midnight Movie.
My name is Delano. I have killed Mr. Midnight Movie. I stabbed that son of a bitch.
This is
Money.
Power.
Money.
Power.
tired.
Money.
Power.
Money.
Hold on, folks.
I'll do a little thing.
All right. Let me just hold on 1 second while I get while I turn off the Mr. Midnight.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are connecting right now to Blog Talk Radio, so we are going to be everywhere. You're listening to Inflammatory Talk
Yes, absolutely.
on a Saturday night.
Ah.
And so we're just going to connect here.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it for me to copy and gosh darn paste. And it's,
You will be listening to the great Inflammatory Talk.
it's not
The amazing Inflammatory Talk. We're here on Skype and Spreaker on Skype. I mean, on Blog Talk Radio.
Yes.
We have a chat board just launched.
God damn it.
All right.
All right.
Are you?
No, I didn't copy and paste it. It's just I got to just have the number kind of fixated on me, but I just got
to 91. I'll tell you our call-in number. It's 917.
Hold on. All right, I got it. 917
889 9178.
9178.
That's right. And you could call at home. You guys, you could all call us if you would like to discuss today's topic. Uh-oh. There we go. We got our chat room now.
Yes.
Hello.
889 9178. Okay, here we go, folks.
Blog Talk Radio. Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please hold and you will be able to listen to the show.
Thank you. So we are on Blog Talk Radio. This is...
Unmuted.
Yes, thank you.
Go ahead and play that video, by the way. We've got a video. Today's show is called Chelsea Clinton and White Guilt.
Yes. Let me share myself with you. Close intervention. I'm just looking here because share screen. Here we go. So they made it a little bit more simple. It's just a little bit more. So I'm sharing my screen. Can you see my screen, JP?
Yeah.
So Chelsea Clinton was at a vigil, and she was confronted by some angry Muslims. I don't know if they were Muslims or not, but I just want to play this, and it kind of just really kind of angers me. And I don't know what's going on. JP, I heard a little noise there. I don't know what that was.
Uh-oh. It's all right. I got...
Oh.
Uh-oh. I'm still hearing an echo, though. Darn it.
I'm not hearing an echo, but I heard... I'm not hearing an echo. I just heard...
Okay, we're good to go.
Yeah. So let's play Chelsea Clinton confronted by Muslim activists at the vigil for the New Zealand victims. So let's play this real quick.
After all that you have done and all this homophobia that you have sowed. I'm so sorry. Well, certainly, I was never my intention.
So I don't know if you can make that out, but she's saying she's so sorry, and she's not pushing back to any.
What is she sorry for?
Yeah, she basically called the senator from Minnesota. She called her an anti-Semite, and I think she's also been critical of Linda Sarsour. So she's been critical of certain Muslim activists. And for this, listen to what the person says.
I do believe words matter. I believe they do matter. And this right here is the result of a massacre stoked by people like you and the words that you put out into the world. And I want you to know that, and I want you to feel that deep inside. 49 people died because of the rhetoric that you put out there.
What does I'm sorry you feel that we mean? What does that mean?
And there you go. That is the left.
She said sorry and crossed her arms across her chest. I don't know what that meant. Was that some kind of hands up?
Why? What would you do if someone confronted you and you were at a vigil for a mass murder and someone said, your rhetoric, your verbal rhetoric caused, your kind of verbal rhetoric is the rhetoric that stoked the fires and caused these mass murders? How would you handle something? Would you tell that person you're so sorry?
I think you'd be pretty limited, right, in what you could say at that point. Because
you wouldn't.
Anything you say is a double-edged sword.
Well, you know what? I'm sorry, man. I would.
The best you could really go for is an apology, like something like that. Send your condolences.
Well, but this person, by the way, is not a victim. She's just a college student activist.
True.
So who the hell are you to tell me that my rhetoric? Who are you to say such a thing? Are you crazy?
Why wouldn't Chelsea, why wouldn't she speak her mind at that point and tell her, this ain't her fault? I mean,
yeah.
First of all, do you know what Chelsea had said that triggered this?
Let's take a look. Chelsea had said things about Linda Sarsour. This is the person who breaking the activist. Here we go.
Are familiar with the unfortunate massacre that took place in New Zealand.
I don't want to listen to this guy.
I have spent days.
Okay, jeez.
No, I have spent weeks.
But let's skip this ad.
It's out here, and Chelsea Clinton is actually under fire. Some stuff is going on with her. We're going to look into it right now because I saw clips of it, and I didn't really look too much into it. Apparently, NY student confronts Chelsea Clinton, says she stoked hatred behind New Zealand shootings. I don't think I'm going to agree with what's going on in this situation. Even the Don Jr. came to her defense. Let's watch this video.
After all that you have done and all this homophobia that you have sowed. I'm so sorry. Well, certainly, it was never my intention. I do believe words.
Now, one of the things that they start doing is they all start snapping their fingers because they don't clap for whatever reason. I think it's an offense to certain people because clapping is somehow an offense. So they all start clapping. I mean, they all start snapping their fingers. And do these people really know how foolish and ignorant they look? And also how weak Chelsea looks to these myopic, childish activists.
Stoked hatred that fueled the slaughter. So emotional. These people.
Stoked by people like you and the words that you put out.
She pregnant?
And I want you to know that, and I want you to feel that deep inside. 49 people died because of the rhetoric that you put out there.
So it's Chelsea Clinton. In her mind, it is Chelsea Clinton's fault, the reason why the shooting happened, which is ridiculous. Because I don't know where she was. She wasn't up in Bernie Sanders' face when one of his supporters shot up a Republican baseball game. Although I don't think it is anyone's fault, but the person who actually performs the acts.
I don't think.
What does I'm sorry you feel that way mean? What does that mean?
Oh my god, I wish I was there.
All this homophobia.
Smack them around. It's not physical. See, now the tough thing is they like back her up into a corner, they outnumber her, and they play the blame game, and they force her to say like sorry, like because they forces like sympathy. Let's see, Rose who posted the video tweeted, "People haven't forgotten the Islamophobic mob she incited against Ilan." There's no sense. So when Ilhan Omar said something anti-Semitic and Chelsea Clinton denounced her, that's what caused the shooting in New Zealand against Muslims from a guy who I don't know how they assemble and they put the pieces of the puzzle together. They just take a bunch of random things and they create some kind of mumbled crazy mess of blame game. Their logic is out of this world. They lack the ability to critically think. I don't know how they come to these conclusions sometimes. 2 + 2 = 56 million, 0.5 in their fucking world. Let's see. Donald Trump Jr. is defending Chelsea Clinton after the former first daughter was blasted by NYU students who blamed her tweet for the New Zealand mosque attacks. It's sickening to see people blame Chelsea Clinton for the New Zealand attacks because she spoke out against anti-Semitism. Trump tweeted Saturday. I think it's this Trump. We should all be condemning anti-Semitism on all forms. Chelsea should be praised for speaking up. Anyone who doesn't understand this is part of the problem, which is good because Chelsea Clinton's obviously on the left and she's coming out against people on her own party, which is good. That's healthy. It's healthy when people come out against people on their own party because it's better for the party because you gotta wean out the bad people. Which I'm glad back in the day when I got exposed for racist experiments, I'm glad people on my party booted me out because I wouldn't, looking in hindsight now, I wouldn't want to be part of a party that supported anything racist that I ever did, if that makes sense. I'm glad that it's almost like, what's that expression? The wolves keep the cattle strong, where the slowest one gets.
Well, okay. So now, JP, if you go to your Twitter feed and you type in the words Chelsea Clinton confronted, you will see you go to and this is kind of new for me as well, but like you go to your Twitter feed and you can see all the news about Chelsea Clinton. Like if you just type in the words Chelsea Clinton on your search bar on Twitter, and it will have like just a lot of people's tweets about Chelsea, what's going on with Chelsea Clinton. Now, Chelsea Clinton is married to a Jewish person. Did you know that, JP?
No. What's his name?
I don't even know. I just know that he's Jewish.
You know what? She's not even one of the names in trending. Let's see here if I could change it to.
Now, even Cenk Uygur said, "I didn't agree with the original comments that Chelsea Clinton made about Imam, the Minnesota person, but she didn't deserve that level of vitriol at the vigil where she came to help. But the media also shouldn't call grieving Muslim women who confronted her crazy for genuine concern." Nonsense. Okay. Yeah. Okay. First of all, these are not grieving Muslims. So if a person kills a bunch of white Christians, or a Muslim kills a bunch of white Christians, and someone confronts them like that, are they not considered crazy? And by
were you reading Cenk's?
Yeah. And by the way, I'm getting quite a bit of calls from my own brand of terrorism. He is just calling nonstop. And
Okay.
I want to say,
See, we have Candace Owens. Just tell me who you want to read. Candace Owens. We have Philippe Rains. Kay Losas. Let's see. How about we do 11 years ago, I crisscrossed the country with Chelsea Clinton campaigning for her mom. She never once lost her cool, no matter how hard someone tried. She killed them with kindness. It was a sight to see.
Yes. And by the way, hey, this person, if they want to call in, they can call into our show. I'm not going to add, you can, he's continuing to call nonstop, but I can put in the message here.
Let's see what Paul Reiser said.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm so sorry you feel that way. I'm so sorry you feel that way.
Paul Reiser, not the actual Paul Reiser, who I think might be dead.
Yeah. By the way, I'm facing my own brand of terrorism. You can, I'm saying he can call into our show. I'm giving him the number to call into our show, but he is continually calling. And he can call. We have a blog talk show, and he can call in there.
Yeah, why? Yeah, just call into the blog talk radio show. What are you doing? If you want to get a hold of us, we're here at Blog Talk Radio. There is a guest call in number 917-889-9178. It's in our chat room.
Yes,
join the chat.
It's in the chat room. It'll be in the chat room at.
Yeah. We certainly would entertain any and all calls. Welcome to the show. We do have a caller. Let's go ahead and take that call now. Hello, caller. How you doing? You're on with Jewish Producer and Mr. Midnight Movie on the greatest show on Blog Talk Radio you're going to hear tonight.
Yes, we one time had.
No, you don't. You don't have the greatest show.
You're jealous.
Yes.
There's
no need for jealousy.
Medzvinsky's son. It's Marjorie Margolis Medzvinsky's son from Pennsylvania.
I think we interviewed Margolis.
His husband. Well, listen carefully. Marjorie Margolis Medzvinsky's husband, the boy's father, went to jail because he's a crook. But they're all millionaires.
Yes.
And they married old Chelsea because it was one of those arranged political marriages. Now, I wonder, how do I sound here on Blog Talk Radio?
You know what? I'll tell you, to be honest, you sound like your thinking is way outdated. But otherwise, you sound okay.
I have to go to the bathroom.
Is that right? Well, you couldn't answer the question. You're right. You couldn't answer the question, so why would?
Well, this is a different show.
I know more about this than you do.
For the state of calm, we are dealing with Chelsea Clinton and white guilt tonight. But when you do one to my personal show,
why would Chelsea Clinton get?
When I do a show, you can come on there, and when you come on there, you could. I will tell you exactly how I feel about you. I promise.
Come on, where?
On my own show, but for tonight, I'm going to do the show.
Again, why do I care?
Yeah.
Chelsea Clinton, why'd she get grief? Because she gave Ilhan Omar a little bit of backlash. Fuck Ilhan Omar.
I'm not up to date on exactly what happened.
I suppose because of... You having trouble hearing me, huh? I suppose because of Chelsea Clinton, that guy decided, yep, today's the day. Now, has anybody asked the question why, with all that shooting going on in that mosque, that there's not even a police siren in the background? You got houses across the street from that mosque. This guy's shooting a rifle.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think anybody's going to come to the window and go, oh shit, there's somebody shooting somebody, and make a call to police? I don't hear one siren. I did see the video that's banned in New Zealand. Did you know you can go to prison
I was watching those live last night. And I'm glad you brought those up. As I was watching them, they were getting banned. I would watch one. I would go back to the stream of the videos. They would be banned within 10 minutes after I watched them. It was about.
Oh yeah, they're manipulating the search engines.
Yep.
The search engines are being manipulated, so you can't even find it.
Exactly. You definitely have to cross. If you're relying on one search engine, anyways, you're not going to find what you're looking for. You got to go to a few different ones. But
is that right? Which one do you use?
I really like DuckDuckGo, but there's other ones, but that one's easy and it's a strong search engine. Supposedly private, but I doubt.
What do you think? Yes. What do you think DuckDuckGo uses as a search engine?
They don't use Google. Are you
sure about that?
Go ahead and run a search, and yes, I'm sure of that. But go ahead and run a search on anything and compare what the results you get on the two websites. Completely different. I mean, it's night and day.
They don't track you. That doesn't mean they don't track you. That doesn't mean they don't search Google.
They don't search Google though. I've read their terms and I've read more about it, but I don't know exactly where to find it. But they don't use.
You believe their terms of agreement?
Well, you know what? You know what? I don't, but I don't think anything is private or anything like that. But the bottom line is, if you search out any word you search out, if you go ahead and follow the result of that search on Google, you're providing them with data. Every single search you do, So yeah, I mean, everything they're saying they don't track your searches. So you know what? That to me sounds a little better. It might not be. It might be complete. Everything seems to be kind of fishy on the net, but so far DuckDuckGo has been helpful. When I'm looking for something, I can't find it anymore on Google, and I'll go over to DuckDuckGo, and it's like one of the top results I'll get I'll give any given, not any search, but a lot of different searches I've done. So anyways, there's other search engines too.
What makes you think that anybody's going to know to call the Block Talk radio number when you don't have it written on Spreaker?
I just put it in Spreaker.
He's running Spreaker. Don't blame me.
Yeah, I just put it in Spreaker. Like if anyone
So
wants,
he didn't bother to put that on Spreaker. He just figured everybody would know.
Yeah.
I think he wasn't sure he was going to take your call to begin with. But do you have a question?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I have comments. He's always going to take my call. He loves when I'm on.
You know what? I have to say there are things that I've disagreed with, and I have a little bit of animosity, just because. And I don't want to get in.
Dogs, people.
Yeah.
People are pissed at you because
you have animosity towards.
And so when when we let you talk, we're being blamed for giving you a platform, giving a person who doxes people a platform. But you haven't doxed me. You haven't doxed Mr. Midnight Movie. I don't appreciate you doxing other people, but hey.
My thing is this.
I don't have anything to say about that, but wait.
Okay.
You don't have anything to say about what I do to other people. What I do with you is between you and me and Mr. Midnight Movie.
Well,
Isn't that right?
You have used our show at times, and you're not doing it now, but you have used our show at times to talk about other people.
Those egregious moments are not helpful for anybody.
You're severely living in the past, Mr. Midnight Movie.
Well, I just want to say that that's not what our show is about, and we don't want to ever... we don't want to talk about other hosts.
But why did you bring it up? Why did you bring it up? I wasn't talking about it. You are.
I'm bringing it up because it's fresh on the table. There's people that are mad at me right now over letting you talk. So, you know what?
You know what? You'll have to just get up to that. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that other people are mad at you. But why do you care?
Well, you know what? I'm separate. I don't provide the information you provide. If you've doxed when you're around me, then it doesn't make me look very good. So I don't appreciate it. And we have a new show on Blog Talk Radio, and we want our listeners to know that we are we don't.
My idea.
Yeah, everything's your idea, right? Anyways, next.
I've been telling
we never thought of it once. We've been on. This is our third run.
I've been telling you.
We're not rookies.
Yeah, I've been telling you and Debbie both that you should both be using Blog Talk Radio.
Okay, wonderful.
Instead of this.
Yes. Spreaker is not.
Instead of this Gab Fest. Instead of this Gab Fest on Discord.
Well, Discord's just a platform for meeting and hanging out with some people that we want to associate with, but we can't if we're hanging out with you, apparently.
Yeah. Well, you are considered.
Well, that's a shame. And wait a second. Is that my fault, or is that one person's inability to control themselves?
It's okay. Let's not go down this road. We're done with the conversation. We're moving on.
Well, why don't you point out the behavior that is offending, not the behavior that's not offending? It's one person's inability to control themselves. That's what it is.
Look, if you got a beef, go deal with it on your own. How about that?
Yeah.
I didn't call in for a beef. You're the one who brought it up, not me.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm the one that told you that.
I know, but I also said let's move on from the topic. We have something to get into. We're going to cover it, and then we're done.
Yes. So Chelsea Clinton was confronted at a mosque by a group of, and I'm thinking they were Muslim activists. They might have been minority activists. They were brown.
I don't even think they were Muslims. They weren't Muslims.
You know what? They may not have been Muslims.
They didn't appear to be Muslim to me. They just appeared to be social justice warriors in New York.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm wondering who they were.
Well, hold on a second. You didn't think that Chelsea brings her Jewish husband into the Jewish bars? Into the Muslim bars. Oh, I'm sorry. There are no Muslim bars. So where would she confront all these Muslims if she's going into a bar?
Yeah. No,
do you think you're likely to find Muslims? Listen. Do you think you're likely to find Muslims in a bar?
This wasn't a bar. This was a vigil for the New Zealand victims.
Wasn't it in a bar?
After all that you have done and all this homophobia that you have
I don't know if it was in a bar.
I'm so sorry. Well, certainly.
Appears to be a bar to me.
I do believe words matter. I believe we have to show do matter. And this right here is the result of a massacre stoked by people like you and the words that you put out there.
And let me mention, by the way, I do know Muslims are people who are of Muslim ethnicity who had frequented bars. I know plenty of Jews who eat pork and bacon.
Yum.
Me too, yeah.
Well, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not real Jews and they're not real Muslims.
Well, are you not a real Jew?
I'm not a religious Jew.
No, you're not. But like I said, these people here, they could be.
I'm also.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm also not a hypocrite. I don't claim to be.
Well, there are some people who, because Cenk Uygur's nephew, he is an agnostic, but he says he's culturally a Muslim to a degree because I think he goes to bars and he drinks.
Well, I'm sorry, but anybody who is a relative of Cenk Uygur probably suffers from interbreeding.
Well, that remains to be seen.
One crazy guy on the internet accused me of being Cenk Uygur. He started emailing me claiming I was Cenk Uygur based on my voice. He thought I was he, and he was I. I'm not even kidding. It was really weird. I got like 3 emails from this guy. He wouldn't believe me that my true identity is not Cenk Uygur.
Yes.
Maybe you Bill Burr.
Do we have any other callers on the line, JP? Or is
No.
Yes. Is this?
I'll let you know.
I want, of course, more people to call in to our Blog Talk radio show. And we are going to be advertising it a little bit better and more. And we're still in the throes of this whole thing, so it's all kind of new for us. We're still doing things with our Skype, so it is all kind of new for us. This show is titled Chelsea Clinton and White Guilt. And will you pay for this Blog Talk Radio beyond the month, or are you going to be a
okay? Why don't you talk about the Hillary Clinton deal?
Yeah. Did someone else? Is someone else on the line?
Hillary Clinton. Not Hillary Clinton.
Chelsea Clinton. Is there anyone else on the line, JP?
No.
Besides your dog. But so Chelsea Clinton.
Only the one angry Jew.
Yes. Chelsea Clinton was confronted by, and I don't know if it was a group of Muslim SJWs, but it was certainly by a group of SJWs. And one of the things that they were doing was they were snapping their fingers. And I want to go into let me see here. Oh, I think someone is
why would that be distressing? Why would that be distressing, Mr. Midnight Movie?
Okay. So I'm going to Yale professor.
Yes.
Yelled at. Okay.
Come on, man, you can do it.
This is Yale professor yelled at about. He was the students.
Use your words.
Students were upset. Students were upset about Halloween costumes, and the Yale professor doing nothing about it. So let's.
You were all for racism.
Okay.
We're sitting here telling you that you are being racist. You were being offensive. You admitted that you hurt us. Why can't you say sorry?
That has been my biggest reaction from this email, is that you're not listening. It is no longer a safe space for me. And I find that incredibly depressing, because I feel that in your role as master and associate master, after sending that email and after not having an appropriate response, that our opinion has been dismissed. That you guys have not said, I hear you. I hear that you are hurting, and I am sorry that I have caused you to feel pain. I have not heard that from you, and I have not heard that from your wife. And that is what I want to hear. I don't want to hear any more defensive terms, because it's not fair to us.
Yeah. The moral of Michaela's comment just now, the moral of the story is that she wants an apology, yet you respond not with an apology. I still think that the phrase hurt feelings.
Okay, tell me the phrase you want me to use. I'll use it.
I don't know, was an expression of racism. An act of violence. An act of violence. An act of violence. We're telling you what it is.
I want to make sure.
I don't understand. Like, what is this?
Can I say? If I cannot.
JP, are you looking at this crap?
Yeah, I am. Wow, what a show, man!
This is an example of first world problems. Now, if a caring person like the one angry, if he was the dean of students and he was confronted by a group of students like this, I wonder how he would respond.
Mm-hmm.
I would have them in tears in about 5 minutes.
I think my cousin and her SJW friends may confront you in Thailand. I'm just kidding.
I don't think so.
No, they wouldn't.
But hey, I've been busy writing books about killing children like Beto O'Rourke. Maybe not.
All right, let's continue with this.
This is a show about Chelsea Clinton Why is there a picture of you holding a white South African refugee sign?
Because it's also about white guilt, sir. Let me continue playing the video.
It is.
Okay, no.
That's what Joke has to do with Elon Omar.
It's seeming like I'm dismissing.
I honestly.
I want you to own the fact, all of you, to own the fact that it's very easy to take something I say and misinterpret it. Okay? That's part of it. So I'm trying very hard to talk to you, to show you the kind of person that I am. Let me say something else. So I have a vision of us as people, as human beings.
Yes.
That actually privileges our common humanity. That is interested not in what is different among us, but what is the same. Okay? And so we all have the capacity, I believe.
Okay, so
let me finish one sentence. I believe, even though I have a different life experience than you, even though I have a different skin color and gender than you, I believe there are parts of your experience that I can understand as a human being. Hold on, one idea at a time. One idea at a time. If you want to just look for reasons to either to think ill of me, you are free to do so. If you'd like to, I understand you think ill of me, but if you want to hear what I have to say, and you want to actually, act in a way that it's like people who are interested in a conversation, then let me.
Now, how did these people ever get through the rigors of Yale University with this kind of behavior? And this is, my God, this is some of the most.
Are you talking the people asking questions here?
These people asking, did you see that woman crying like a baby? I mean, This is not the loss of a parent. This is not the loss of a child. I mean, these are first world problems. And that he didn't defend, that he didn't stop people from wearing culturally appropriated Halloween costumes. That somebody may go in a dashiki or they may go in a Pocahontas costume. And these people are literally almost crying over this.
Excuse me, Pocahontas is racist.
I bet.
You can't say that. You can't say Pocahontas.
No, you can't. I guess you can't. I guess you cannot.
That's racist.
Yes. Now, yes. So let's continue on with the Yale students bearing
more clips. Why don't you share the link to the clips in your very popular Blog Talk Radio chat room?
I can't, for whatever reason, I can't get into blog. Let me see here.
All right, just send me the link. Just send it.
He can't get into it because he's on a Mac. I know how to get into it. I'm in it.
I'm in it right now too.
Yeah.
I'm running.
Like I was just saying, I have a vision of ourselves that unites our common humanity. Okay? So I believe, even though I'm not like you in the sense of my superficial appearance, that I can sit down and talk to you and understand your position.
I am sick looking at you. I am disgusted watching Alex argue with you. You were not listening. You were disgusted.
Right now, look at me.
Yes.
Look at me.
Yes.
Do you understand? You and I are not the same person. We're humans. Great. Glad we understand that. But your experiences will never connect.
I would knock that. This is a four-eyed dude. I would have, getting that close to me, I would have knocked the fuck out of that guy. The fuck are you? Oh, man, I'm getting pissed off now. Anyway, this guy is getting close saying, look at me. All right, I'm going to play Bernie Sanders on the Today Show. Just because this is Bernie Sanders, Socialism in New England. Now, this is one of your tribesmen, by the way, Bernie Sanders. Have you ever been a Bernie bro at all when angry?
I find Bernie to be slightly disgusting, and I don't know. He probably smells.
That is rather anti-Semitic. Are there any? Do you have any family members like Bernie?
No. Well, my father, but I think he's older than Bernie. But I would guess that Bernie smells slightly of urine.
Now, JP, do you have any family members like?
Can we really have a president that is incontinent?
Do you think Bernie looks incontinent?
What kind of?
He kind of does. Like he looks like he's on the way there.
Well, wait a minute. What kind of image would we portray to Russia if our president wore diapers and smelled a little bit of urine?
We might have Bernie Sanders.
They'd freshen him up.
Yeah. But you know what? He's probably got round. I mean, once he becomes president, he'll have round the clock care when we have Mr. President Sanders.
You don't find too many socialists in elective office in this country, and one is elected mayor of a sizable city. Well, that's news. It's also Phil Donahue's topic this morning.
Good morning, Jane. A couple of facts. Burlington is the largest city in Vermont. The state has about 500,000 people. Burlington has about 38,000. Situated as it is on Lake Champlain with the Adirondack Mountains viewable, it's a lovely, lovely spot in this country. We'd like you to meet its new mayor. This is Mayor Bernard Sanders. Mayor Sanders got a lot of attention recently, not only with his 10-vote victory out of about 9,500 votes cast, but mostly because he is a socialist. And everybody read
this was in 1981, ladies and gentlemen.
Article said, "My goodness, how did this happen in good old conservative Vermont?" How do you respond?
Well, in Vermont, being conservative is different perhaps than being conservative elsewhere in the country. Also, what I think most people don't know is Vermont happens to be one of the very poorest states in the country. And although we're a little bit better off in Burlington, we still have enormous economic problems. I won the election, I think, because we effectively put together a coalition of low-income people, elderly people who in Vermont are very often up against the wall economically in very bad shape. Some of our city trade unions.
The cops supported you, didn't they?
The police department supported us, yes. The Patrolmen's Association did, right.
So you had police officers voting for you who probably voted for Ronald Reagan.
Well, I'm not so sure that I don't know if I can say
that's
that.
Certainly.
But the police officers in our particular city are they're trade unionists. And they're earning very low wages, and along with many other workers in our city, want some fundamental change. Also, we have in our city particular problems, I believe, with the police department that they've been concerned about, very low morale. So it didn't particularly surprise me.
How are Vermont conservatives different than national conservatives?
It's not big money conservatism. It's not right-wingism and warmongerism. In fact, Vermont has always had a very strong feeling about civil liberties. What conservatism means in Vermont basically is leave me alone, get the government off my back, and that's fine. It's a respect for other people's rights. We disagree, we'll talk it out. And that's a very different conservatism that says, let's go to war, supranationalism, and so forth.
If I were the president of the largest bank in Burlington, I'd be real nervous about you.
Well, they may be. They may be. But I think they are. But I think what we've often talked about also is that my powers as mayor are in many ways limited. And I have my visions as to what life should be in Vermont, in Burlington, and in the United States. But within Burlington, I acknowledge everybody knows what my powers are, and they're very limited.
Right.
We are not going to go around nationalizing banks or nationalizing industry. In fact, we want industry in Vermont that pay decent wages, and we're going to go out and bring that in like every other mayor in the United States is. We are going to speak out, though, on national and international issues which affect the city of Burlington. For example, obviously, we're very concerned about Mr. Reagan's policies, which are impacting devastatingly on low-income and working people. We're concerned about the policies in our own state government, which are affecting low-income people negatively.
Yeah.
But we know what our powers are within the city of Burlington.
When you sit around with your own friends talking about the world, how we got here, where we're going, what's the biggest grievance? Give us your overview.
All right. What we're talking about is that we believe in democracy. I mean, the problem with the word socialism is that very often it's been equated with what happens in the Soviet Union, which is authoritarianism and totalitarianism. I believe very strongly in the right of dissent, and I think people with my ideas fight for those things very strongly. What we talk about is the fact that in our society, theoretically a democratic society, you have a handful of people who control our economy. You have maybe 2% of the population that owns 1/3 of the entire wealth of America, 80% of the stocks, 90% of the bonds. And these people have incredible power. They sit on huge corporations like the Chase Manhattan Bank, the multinational corporations, and they determine the destiny of our entire country. As you know, perhaps 50% of our population has so given up.
So any questions on 1980 Bernie Sanders? 81, actually, Bernie Sanders.
No, because it was unintelligible. You better fix your levels and your sound.
Yeah, I made it out. It wasn't so bad. It wasn't unintelligible. It was just a little off.
It was bad. I couldn't tell what he was saying. Doesn't matter. We're not putting a Jew in office. They're not letting a Jew become president. Not going to happen.
Now, what about an Asian, Andrew Yang? People are calling
what?
Yang. Andrew
Use
Yang.
your microphone, please, sir.
Andrew Yang.
Oh, there it sounds much better. How about that? How far away from that microphone were you?
I'm not sure.
So, he's a little closer. Good.
Andrew Andrew Yang.
I don't know who that is.
He is.
I don't know who that
he
is.
is running for president, and maybe I'll put his platform out there real quick. And I think I'll
use your words.
Yes, I'll use my words. And I'm just going to play the commercial. Oh, I'm going to skip the ad. Here we go.
Andrew Yang's popularity is clearly on the rise, but I'm not going to lie to you.
What is going on with radio these days? There's no.
Well, he had YouTube upgraded, but I think it must not be upgraded anymore.
All right. Anyway, here's the here's Andrew Yang. He is running for president.
But I'm not going to lie to you. His odds for 2020 are long. Still struggling to show up at 1% in the polls, he faces a steep uphill battle. He is competing with a large field of experienced politicians. One that is currently dominated by Bernie Sanders, probably the most influential progressive in the country, with decades of experience and a powerful movement behind him. And were he somehow able to beat Sanders, to become president, Yang would have to topple Trump, an incumbent president running on a fairly strong economy and backed by an astoundingly loyal following. Facing all this, Andrew Yang has few assets in his arsenal. He's not a career politician or a famous billionaire. He doesn't have the name recognition, the donors, the staff, or the popular movement required to become president. At least not yet. What he does have is an idea. One that's so interesting, it's gotten him far more attention than a fringe candidate is likely to expect. One that has gotten him enough supporters that he will likely make it past the DNC threshold necessary to appear in the Democratic primary debates.
Yeah, and I'm going to be on the debate stage in June and July. The DNC has already reached out to my team.
But these are just early steps. Andrew Yang hopes that his idea will be enough to make him the next president of the United States. Can he do it? Andrew Yang's platform includes support for Medicare for All and changing our measures for determining the health of the economy.
We need to get health care off the backs of businesses and families and move towards a single-payer system. Medicare for all. We have a series of bad numbers, and I referred to GDP as one, because I'm going to update the numbers. They actually make sense to the American people.
Yes. So we can know what's going on. Otherwise, we can't make wise decisions.
Yeah, right now, again, and you know this, our life expectancy has declined for the last 3 years, first time in 100 years, because of a surge in suicides and drug overdoses. How can you say an economy is healthy when our people are dying? It makes no
I
sense
literally couldn't. I don't even know what you think on the other issues, and I just.
But the focus of his campaign is what he calls the freedom dividend. It's his own spin on a universal basic income. The idea is simple. To give every American over the age of 18, regardless of income, and without any kind of work requirement or means test, $1,000 per month. Anyone can opt into the program. The only exception being that those who are currently on welfare programs, food stamps, or disability would have to choose to lose their enrollment in those programs or have the costs of those benefits deducted from the $1,000 they would otherwise receive. The idea of UBI may seem simple, but it's seductively positioned to maximize appeal across the political spectrum. The left can easily support the idea as a simple method to directly alleviate poverty. The fact that it is given to everyone means that the program will be resilient and that it will not stigmatize the poor. But it's also hard to challenge for the right. UBI does not really expand the size of government. It has no risk of creating a bloated public bureaucracy. The payout is lower than a full-time job at minimum wage. And unlike many other government assistance programs, there is no disincentive for those enrolled to work. So UBI is unlikely to create so-called welfare queens. UBI is also not a form of socialism, as Yang has argued, UBI is capitalism where income does not start at zero. Yang has also answered the dreaded "how will you pay for it" question. Partly the funding will come from the 500 to 600 billion we already spend on welfare and other poverty alleviation programs, the ones whose recipients would lose the costs of those benefits from their $1,000 per month. Yang also expects to generate about the same amount from new revenue driven by economic growth as a result of instituting the program. He got the figure of 500 to 600 billion based on...
What is your opinion of UBI, sir?
I'm sorry, I was bored into a deep coma. Thank you for bringing me out.
Yes. Do you have an opinion on UBI, sir?
No. I don't even know what it is. Again, can't hear it well, so I don't know what you're talking about. I think you have an issue with sound. Your sound, I can understand. What you play, I can't. How you're playing it, I don't know.
Well, I guess. JP, can you make out the sound?
What's that question here? Is it not sounding good?
Can you make out the sound when? Can you make out the sound?
I can make it out.
No, I can't. But what you need to do when you play a clip like that, you got to give us some background. You can't just throw up a clip. There's no reference. Nobody knows what to look for, and there's just people, babbling away. So if you're not going to give it any context, don't play the video. It's not worth it. It doesn't sound. I have no idea. It was like a minute or two of my life. I don't even know what happened in that minute or two of my life. I didn't learn anything.
That's
I know
right.
that.
It's completely gone.
It's completely gone.
It's gone like a fart in the wind.
Yes. Thank you very much for that awful experience. You're like a time thief.
Yes.
Who is?
Mr. Midnight Movie. For playing that video, he's stealing time from my life.
I'm a time thief.
Yeah, but the other thing is, if you're going to speak into the microphone as I do.
I am a
How am I coming across? Bet you I'm coming.
Like
what microphone are you using?
Gurgling vomit.
Well, that's even worse. Do you have a proper microphone?
He does, but he needs to use his headphones. He doesn't use his headphones. That is all the problem right there. What's happening, Mr. Midnight Movie? Sound is coming out of your speakers, okay? When that does that, you're getting noise cancellation effects in your microphone. So who knows that it's canceling out noise. So then when you talk into it, it's naturally going to start canceling out some of what you say. If you have headphones, all the sound goes right to your ears, and everything you say goes right into a clear mic. So what you're doing is you're flooding your mic when you don't use headphones. And the best part is you can hear yourself speaking with headphones. That is the key component there. Yeah, you could actually completely moderate yourself so much easier if you're listening to yourself. When you play this without, you don't know if you're yelling or whispering. You have no idea. But if you have headphones on, you have absolute control and far more moderation over your own voice, your own output. Consider using headphones every time.
Yes. No blood, no love.
I'm glad that went in one ear and out the other.
No, I'm writing right now. I am writing my YouTube responses.
Oh, good. Write this down. I will wear my headphones every day, anytime I ever go on live.
I will wear.
Does he have headphones?
My penis phones.
Yes, I have them all set up. He just doesn't use them.
The last time I used them, my mic didn't work. So there was.
Dude, no. You pulled that bullshit with me last time. It worked fine last time. Last time you used your headphones, it worked for sure. But maybe one time in the past you've had a bad experience. It has nothing to do with your mic, other than that you're flooding your mic if you don't use headphones. Now, do you know who David Walachinsky is? Either one of you? David Walachinsky?
No. He sounds Polish.
Mm-hmm. He is a Jew. Yes.
Well, that bombed quickly, didn't it?
Yes.
Mr. Midnight Movie. Why don't you just tell us whether or not you would date a Jew?
Oh, yes, I have.
Well, tell us about it.
Well, she...
All right, skip that. How did you feel about the mosque shooting day before yesterday?
I felt it was a tragedy.
Did it make you feel as tragic as, say, someone shooting up a synagogue?
I think anytime that kind of anytime mass murder happens, and I actually that one only because I saw it live. I saw it happening on Twitter, and I actually saw that person going in there and shooting people on Twitter, and seeing the blood spurt out, and him just going to people. And just as they're hovering, as the people are all crawled into spaces, and he is there just using his firearm and shooting people.
Well,
it was shocking.
I was able to view it. As well, thanks to Debbie yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we should turn Debbie into the New Zealand police for possessing this video?
Well, she's not.
Don't you have a problem? Don't you have a problem that they're scrubbing this video from the internet?
Yes, I do.
Why? Now, see, I want to have that video because my son doesn't want to see it, but I think he should watch it. I think my 12-year-old should watch that video. What do you think?
Yes. I would have watched it at that age. By the way, I want to play this video.
Dude, stop! Stop it, you fucking pussy!
No, don't play any clips. You don't know why I want him to watch it.
Why do you want him to watch it?
Because he spends too much of his time on the internet watching these first-person shooter bullshit all over the place. I think he should watch the real thing. I think you should see the blood ooze out of people who've been shot.
Question, where did you get this footage of the shooting?
I don't have the footage. Debbie has it.
How did Debbie get the footage of the shooting?
Because she downloaded it from Facebook.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I want him to watch the real video. I want him to see a real first-person shooter scenario. Real people dying.
Who? Are you talking to me?
I'm talking to anybody. Real people dying. Real people who are getting bullets pumped into them.
Okay.
Which I'm a little bit baffled as to why I don't hear police sirens in the background. How is it possible that guy had all that time and not one police respond? Do they have only one policeman in that country?
I'm not sure. I mean, of course they have more than, but Yeah, I'm not sure of why the police response wasn't the way it was.
There was no response. This guy was able to walk into a mosque, shoot people for 5-6 minutes, walk outside, go to his car, which was full of guns, get another gun, walk around the front of the mosque, walk through another entrance, shoot at people down the street. He shot in both directions on the street in front of the mosque. Go into the parking lot, shoot at people in the parking lot. There are houses across the street from this mosque. Are you telling me that there's no possibility that someone was home and you don't hear a round coming out of a gun like that all the way down the street? And nobody called the police? In the police, you don't hear a siren in the background at all? And nobody's talking about that. That's amazing to me. They're claiming that the police didn't get called until 42 minutes after the hour, and this thing started at 30 minutes after the hour.
Yeah.
So how is that possible?
It doesn't sound. Doesn't sound. There's something is not working for me on this story at all. But
yeah, I mean, I hold on. I gotta.
There's more to it. I haven't done all my research, but so far, not so good.
You don't suppose the flat Earth ends right there at Christ Church, and they all fell off one end?
Suppose we should check on that and make sure everyone's still aboard.
Yes. Sorry, folks. I'm getting a little bit tired here, and again, the show is called.
Sounded like fake yawn.
It's been such a stressful show.
It sounded like a fake yawn.
Yes, it is a fake yawn. Just call me Yanni.
Yanni.
And I'm clearing out all of my emails.
So why am I the only one in the Block Talk Radio chat?
Well, here's the deal with Blog Talk Radio. If you talk long enough, there's going to be somebody that's going to wander by and say, "Hey, man, I want to talk about Chelsea Clinton.
Yeah,
I'll talk about white guilt."
Well, you would kind of think that. You might think that because if you click on the live thing, certainly not what it used to be at this time of night. The Erie Late Night Show is 5 chatters. Aim to People's Talk Radio 4. Crazy Nation 4. And you guys have 2. You and me.
Well, you're right. I don't know what's happened to Blog Talk Radio. We tried this experiment last year, and it was weak. I think we just need to get to work on spreading the word ourselves, and it may require some money. I have a feeling these days it's so hard to get traffic, and the best we can do is organize our shows. And we have a show every Wednesday night for sure. The rest of these shows are just kind of messing around and trying to stir up some conversation wherever we can. And you figure on a Saturday night, okay, we're kind of being losers. We're here doing a show, but there's a lot of losers out there who aren't doing anything on a Saturday night, and they should all be calling inflammatory talk.
Yeah, and we're doing this.
And they're all in Discord right now.
Yeah, there's some people over there, but you know what? That's it's a very small segment of the population at large. There's so many people out there struggling to find an outlet, and we don't care if you want to talk about anything. I don't care if it's anything, really.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be Chelsea Clinton and white guilt.
Yeah. And I'd
love to get into a conversation about space.
Yeah. But I just picked.
What about it?
Nah, we're not with you. Come on, go on, Brian.
Yeah. I think you've been there a few times, baby. But I just picked this topic because it was just done, and
fresh off the presses.
Yeah, these social justice warriors are really they continue to infuriate me, and they don't realize how stupid and moronic they sound. And I know that I do at times, but at least I can look at myself and see how foolish I am. Others cannot.
I think you have a healthy outlook on yourself. You definitely take a step back and recognize your folly.
Yes.
Can I call it folly too?
Yes. Someone wrote. I made a comment on light-skinned privilege. This is from Francesca Ramsey of Decoded, and someone wrote, I have three beautiful dark-skinned daughters, and I always tell them how beautiful they are because they truly are amazing. Oh, you're such a moron.
I have three beautiful daughters named Howard.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and someone said, attention all dark-skinned women looking to make some beautiful dark-skinned kids, comment below.
What does that mean? What in the heck is going on? People, come on, it's Saturday night. Lighten up.
It is Saturday night. Lighten up.
I'm very disappointed.
I'm disappointed in you too, Howard.
Don't worry, it's new. We're fixing that.
I'm disappointed because you used our platform for your personal vendettas, and you should be ashamed.
You did. You know what? I lost about 10 people as friends that night, all because of you and your horrible interpersonal skills.
Yes. It's very unfair and very wrong. You know, relationships are supposed to be win-win.
I'm sorry. What have you blamed me for?
Have you ever apologized for anything ever in your life?
What would you like me to apologize for?
I'm not okay. First of all, you're answering a question to a question, which is
okay. Hold on, you two. I've got a call here. Let's bring on a caller, and then we'll get back to this conversation. All right. Hello, you're on with Mr. Midnight Movie and One Angry Jew, and me, Jewish producer. Who's this?
This is Darren calling from Oregon.
Hey, Darren,
welcome
how are
to the
you?
show. For a nice first-time caller, always like that. Mm-hmm. Welcome to the show.
Now you have now, Darren, you have been to a Black Lives Matter rally in Oregon, if I'm not mistaken, Darren.
That's correct.
Now, what percent? Because Oregon is a pretty white city. It is the largest white city in. I think in America, like as far as populace goes, it's got the largest amount of whites. What percent of Black Lives Matter, the Black Lives Matter crew, what percent of them were black, and what percent was white who were marching?
I think there were 3 or 4 white people and myself, and then a bunch of really angry black people.
Now, what were they? I mean, why did they? Did you ever ask them? You know. Did you ever ask them? You know,
guy with the gun got shot.
Yeah, but can I ask? Yeah, I know. I wonder if you could have asked them. Would they have taken to offense? You'd say, you know, Oregon's a very white place. Wouldn't they have felt better living in a predominantly black area instead of Oregon?
I did not ask them that. No. They looked pissed off. I didn't want to talk to any of them.
Would they have attacked you for that?
Probably not me. But I don't think they would have been happy.
So
what? Yelled at me.
Well, so what if they yell at you? You get great video out of that. I wish I would have been there. I would have worn my remember white South African farmers. Those blacks
Yeah,
in Portland.
I was just going to the store and I saw the commotion. I just thought I'd go over there. Yeah, maybe you're right. I didn't have much time. I just went over there really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
What I was gonna talk about is, remember when that lady got raped in New York and everybody just watched and everybody figured everybody else would call the police?
I've heard
I
about
don't think
that.
anybody.
Yeah.
I just think people probably heard pops, but I don't think anybody that was alive could call the police in that situation over there, right away. Because it was inside a mosque. I don't know if I'd call police if I heard something like that. I don't know. Maybe when they got out in the street, that's probably when they called. That's all I was going to call about.
Awesome.
What do you think?
Well, what do you guys think?
You know what? I agree with Darren. I think what you say makes sense.
Yeah, and then he jumped in his car and drove off so fast. Where did they catch him finally? How long was he free? Do you guys know? I can't find that information out, really.
More than half an hour.
They caught him in a half an hour? Or a half an hour before the police were even called?
They caught him in half an hour.
Well, that's pretty good, really. Do you think that's suspicious, Howard?
How is it good when he's walking through a mosque, shooting at bodies on the floor, and you don't hear a siren in the background?
No.
And yet, in Los Angeles, a transvestite with a camera can garner 5 cop cars in about 8 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know what their police force is like in Christchurch.
It's why I don't go anywhere near these stories on these shows. Nowhere near them.
You don't believe it even happened, do you?
I don't get into it. Mr. Midnight Movie has for all intents and purposes, Mr. Midnight Movie has, and you have brought up challenging points.
Thank you.
Howard's done nothing.
Mr. Midnight Movie is wrapped with white guilt.
No, I'm not.
What? Why do you think that,
yes,
Howard?
You are.
Why do you say that?
He won't talk about the real issue.
What is the real issue, Howard?
Do you really feel that much sympathy for these? Do you really feel that much sympathy for these Muslims? The Muslims have been killing children, women, gays. They've been running and executing priests all over the world. Do you really feel that much sympathy for the Muslims that they get a little bit of what they've been giving all these years?
I feel sympathy. Okay, Howard, I feel empathy for anyone that is murdered and is defenseless. Do I feel that the media? Do I feel that the media portrays things unfairly? You're damn right. And I'll say this. I'll go as far as to say this. These Muslims and these other groups come to countries that are populated with whites, or what you can call them Europeans. They're not going to Japan. I don't think and I don't know if they're going to Thailand to seek.
They're not going to Japan. They're not going to Japan because they're not welcome.
Yes. But we welcome.
They go to where they're welcome.
Yeah, we welcome them.
They just sit around praying on their blankets. It's not like that group was going out terrorizing people. That's an awful thing to say.
Yeah, that is an awful thing to say. But I will say this.
What's an awful thing to say?
That you don't feel bad about those people that died just because they're Muslims.
I said that I don't feel as bad. I'm having a hard time summoning up sympathy or empathy for people who would have been rejoicing if it had been a synagogue. Sorry, just can't do it.
Did you guys see the one guy that dove out and tried to stop him?
No,
The video?
Yes.
That was sad. He almost took him down. This is in a
So,
sort of getting
you think I'm an awful person, Darren? Is the one angry Jew an awful human being?
That is a pretty nasty thing to say.
I don't think you said I felt as bad, but if you did, then I guess I could accept that. I just think it's
Well,
bad.
let me say it again. So it's very clear. Let me be very clear. Allow me to be very clear. I don't have as much empathy or sympathy for those people in Christ Church, the Muslims. I just don't. I don't feel, and my heart is heavy that a whole bunch of them got killed and shot up. You know what? These are the same people that if it had been a synagogue in Christ Church, they would have all been rejoicing and praising to Allah that it was Allah's will. I don't have much sympathy for these people. I think they're invaders. I think that they laugh at us. They come into our countries and their goal is to take us over. Their goal is to root us out by having more children than we do. Their goal is to put an Ilhan Omar into Congress and then put another one. And when you get used to one Ilhan Omar wearing a Muslim headdress, a hijab headdress, whatever you want to call it, then we can have another one, and another one, and another one, until they start influencing America and start influencing our Constitution. They're invaders.
I know about 10 Muslim people, and they're some of the best people I know, so I don't know. How many are really terrorists? Such a small percentage.
What does that mean? No, it's not a small percentage. Oh, no, let me put things in perspective. Let me put things in perspective for you. If you go to Germany right now and you ask Germans if Hitler was right, a third of Germans will tell you that he was. A third of Germans will tell you that he wasn't. And another third of Germans will tell you that they're not sure. I don't have much sympathy for Germans either. Fuck the Germans. They're not quite sure whether Hitler was wrong or right. But they're getting a little bit of their own medicine back, aren't they? Because they've had their country taken over, and they turn themselves over and spread their ass cheeks to the Muslims. You know that the Muslims come into England, and they have multiple wives. It's against the law in England to do that, but it's okay if you're a Muslim. If you're a Mohammedan, that's okay. It's okay to take over whole neighborhoods. It's okay to tell your women that you better not walk in a certain neighborhood because you're likely to get raped or assaulted. That's okay. In a country like England, let me explain something to you. When I go visit England, I want to see English people. I don't want to go and see Saudi Arabia in England. I don't want to see Saudi Arabia in Japan. I don't want to see Saudi Arabia, Muslims, taking over my country. I don't want to see Ilhan Omar, who is a despicable, disgusting character, sitting in the Congress, asking questions of people as if she knew what she was talking about, when all she really cares about is her work for CARE, the Council on American Islamic, whatever it is, relations, an arm of the Muslim Brotherhood. How did Ilhan Omar get into the Congress? Do you know?
Probably a lot of refugees voted for her.
Probably the people that Barack Obama made sure got into certain communities and he filled them up, creating a base. from which she could be voted for. It is the Islamification of America. The Islamicists are contrary to our way of life. They are contrary to the Constitution. I have no problem saying that. I have no problem saying that I don't have much sympathy for these people who were just killed. They kill people all over the world in the name of Allah. Fuck them.
Well, I mean, you're right. They have killed.
Was that clear enough for you?
Yes.
Wait. Was that clear enough for you? Did you get a clear indication of my thoughts?
Yes. No. I've got an absolute clear. Yes, very clear. But let me add, by the way, that I do have empathy for those that are murdered, and I have empathy. I mean, unless they're direct descendants of my family, I have empathy for anybody that is murdered in cold blood and in the type of cold blood that they were murdered in. However, I don't think that this is all about white supremacy. And one of the first things that's going to happen is freedom of speech and freedom of association is going to be attacked in this country by places like the Southern Poverty Law Center and the ADL. And it's it's going to further polarize us. It's not going to necessarily bring us together. It's basically going to just stick a larger wedge in between a really fractured nation, which we have been since the election of. I mean, I think it's always been there. The media, basically social media, has put the wedges even further out, and people have begun to question things much more in this country, and they've begun to question what I call the civil rights industrial complex and the basically guilting of America or people of European descent, and that's worldwide. It's something that goes on in Europe and in the United States and wherever Europeans are. They basically feel that they should never question any forms of immigration and never say what is in their best interest, like all other groups do and like all other nations do. So, the biggest, the biggest loss is the loss of human life, obviously. But another big loss of life, another big loss.
Wait a second. Let me stop you.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you were given a choice, you had the God switch.
Yes.
I just gave you the God switch. You got it. You've got a switch. You can turn it left, you can turn it right.
Yes.
You've got to turn the switch. The switch just says that the choice that you have is that this crazy Australian fucker is going to go shoot somebody and a whole bunch of somebodies. And you have the choice whether you can send him to a Jewish synagogue or you can send him to a Muslim mosque. Which way are you flipping the switch?
Neither. I would not. I would refuse to flip. You know what? I would refuse to.
You have to flip the switch. If you don't,
if I'm God, I don't have to flip anything.
Have to flip.
No, I wouldn't. No way.
If you don't choose, it will happen to both of them. You can divert the killing from one to the other. Okay. If you do nothing, they both get shot up.
You're putting up you're putting up a scenario that would never happen. So I'm not going to.
No, I'm asking you to be. No, I'm asking you to be honest. Which way would you turn the switch in that scenario? Would you flip the switch synagogue?
I mean, like I said, that hypothetical would never happen. But let me also add, by the way, that
why can't you answer?
Because you want me to say that I have more empathy for that I would have more empathy for other groups than I would for Muslims.
Don't you?
No, that doesn't.
Don't you?
Okay.
Wait. Don't you have more empathy for the Jews than you have for the Muslims?
On average, I have. You know what? You know what? I mean, if
you want hard talk radio, if you want hard talk radio, if you want in your face talk radio, that's what you get when you allow me on your show. And even though it's a hypothetical, I would like to know, are you going to let the Jews die or are you going to let the Muslims die? Which one dies?
You know what? I couldn't. You know what? I don't acknowledge an impossible scenario like that.
Do you feel that you need to be politically correct in your answer? Okay, how about not Jews? How about we make it a Christian church? Christian church versus the mosque. Which way do you turn the switch?
Again, I would give the same answer. That to me is because I mean, I don't know why that's even important.
The importance of that is a lot of this. My thoughts and my prayers are with you. It's more of this. It's fake. First of all, you don't know any of these people. You don't know any of these people. More people died yesterday in a Syrian camp than died at that mosque. Did you feel empathy for the people in the Syrian camp? Do you get upset because a bunch of people in a Syrian camp died? More people died on the road in America than died at that mosque yesterday. How many people do you think are killed in America every day on the roads?
I'm not sure how many.
Do you have empathy for them? Do you pray for them?
You know what? If I knew about it and I witnessed something like that, I certainly would have empathy. Now, praying, I am an atheist.
How many people do you think are dying in Venezuela right now?
Quite a few.
They're drinking water out of sewers. Anybody who required dialysis, kidney dialysis, they're dead now. It's power shorts that they've had that has hit the whole country. The hospitals can't treat the people who need dialysis. They're dead. They're gone. There's lots of them. And you know why? Because there's a man sitting in Miraflores, which is what they call the presidential palace in Caracas. I've been there. There's a man in Miraflores who has electricity and eats donuts and puff pastry while everybody starves. I'm sure he's drinking Pellegrino while everybody's drinking sewer water.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I certainly look. There are plenty of things that I put into perspective, and like I said, it's primarily people in white countries or countries with a large people of European descent, people of Europe, where the majority is of people of European descent, where the Muslims are coming to those countries. They're not coming to anywhere in China. They're not coming to Saudi Arabia. They're coming to America. They're coming to New Zealand. They're coming to Australia. And
Why? Why?
Because they're better places to live.
No. They're not coming there because they're better places to live. They're coming there for one reason and one reason only. They are going to spread Islam into the other countries, whether they like it or not. That is their goal.
Yeah.
Do you deny that?
No. No.
That's their belief, isn't it? Their belief is that you're an infidel, that you are a low-class person. For them, you're a dog. Do you know how they treat dogs?
You know, I know how they. Okay,
You're a dog.
Yeah, I know how they treat
you. In their eyes, you in their eyes are a dog, and you're not walking around with a beard and robes and praying to Allah 5 times a day. You're a dog. And they are coming to your country to convert you.
You know, one of my best friends in junior high was a Christian. I mean, a Christian from a Christian from Lebanon. I don't know if you know much about what happened in Lebanon and what happened to the Christian. I mean, Lebanon used to be a predominantly one. It was. I think it was the only country there that was a majority Muslim nation. Yes.
Yeah.
And what happened to them? And Bridget Gabrielle has been talking about this for years, and they say they use their tolerance against us. And I think the same thing with the civil rights industrial. Yeah, the same thing with the civil rights industrial complex. They use our tolerance and our guilt against us, and our sense of fairness against us.
That's why you like Jared Taylor.
Do you like Jared Taylor?
Love him. I think you're absolutely right.
Well, I mean,
watch the video of him interviewed by Jorge Ramos.
And
he asked Jorge Ramos a question. He said, "Why should I let you make me the minority?
Well,
why should I be okay?" What's that?
Did he have a response to that?
Jorge Ramos had to think about that for a few seconds because he didn't have a really good retort for that. Why should Jared Taylor be happy with being made a minority by the brown people, by the Jorge Ramoses of the world, who are coming into a country built by people like Jared Taylor? White people. White people built America. White people made America what it is. Black people have not done a great job in Africa. Name me an African country where the blacks in Africa have turned it into a great country. Make you want to live there. They want to go to Uganda? How about Kenya?
You know what? I don't know of one, but let me see.
And why is that? Well, why is that?
Are there any? So there are. Are you saying that there are no prosperous sub-Saharan African countries?
I don't know of any. Do you? Compared to Europe, no. You can't tell me that the raw materials, the same raw materials that were used in the European countries, don't exist. They exist. Why haven't the black people in Africa been able to create a country like Switzerland? A black Switzerland. Why doesn't it exist?
Yeah, the number one city to live in Africa, and it's not going to be maybe much anymore, is still South Africa. all the rest. Yeah. And
so what does that tell you? You've got Japanese who we dropped bombs on and decimated their society, and yet they have turned around and they have made a powerhouse of a country, and they're all Japanese. So when the Japanese do good things, we don't say, well, we'll give them credit, that's great. Why is it that we don't say the same thing when we look at Africa, which is full of black people? They've just not done anything worth crowing about. You tell me, where is there a utopia? Would you go live in Switzerland? I would.
Yeah. More than I would.
Would you live in Australia? Would you go live in Australia or New Zealand? I would.
Yeah, I would as well.
Okay.
And
yeah. Where's the black Japan? Show me the black Switzerland, the black France. So now what you have in France is you have a country that they have let in, I don't know how many Muslims they've let in, but people who go to France now go to Paris. They talk about how Paris isn't Paris anymore. It's been taken over by the Muslims.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that.
And they hate the Parisians. They hate them. When I go to Paris, I want to see French people. I don't want to see Muslims. I don't even want to see Israel. I don't want Paris to be turned into Israel. I don't want to see every Jew in the world go to Paris and turn Paris into Tel Aviv. If I want to go to a Jewish state, I'll go to Israel. I'll go to Tel Aviv. If I want to live with Jews, I'll go to Israel or Brooklyn.
Yeah. Yeah.
So why should I accept? Why should I or anybody else accept that these Muslims come into the country with the express intent of converting everybody to Mohammedanism? Why is that okay? Why am I not allowed to say that I don't like that? It's a Trojan horse, except they're all on the outside of the horse. They're not inside. They're not hidden. They don't hide. If you ask them, they'll tell you. Go and watch anybody who does a YouTube video to interview Muslims about what they think about the Constitution or versus Sharia law. And they'll tell you that they should have Sharia law in Britain. And they go in the streets all the time and they tell people that they're going to root them out. They're going to have more children than them. They're going to get into the legislatures. They're going to vote. And they're going to take over the country. They're being told that they're going to do it. And these people in England apparently are too scared of being called a racist. Well, call me a racist. Fuck you all. I don't care. Jared Taylor is right. Is Jared Taylor a white supremacist or is he a white protector? Who protects the white people? Because as far as I can tell, the Caucasians are the ones that are the most successful at creating societies.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you on that. I don't know how Asia is. And I also have family.
Well, you can look at.
I also have.
You can look at Japan.
Yeah.
You can look at Korea. Even Thailand. Thailand has never been invaded.
Was Thailand ever invaded?
Thailand is for Thai.
Yeah.
Hey, let me explain something to you. Thailand is for Thai people. I can't own a house here. I can own a condo so long as the condominiums are not majority owned by foreigners. As long they can't sell me a condo. If selling me a condo flips the ownership of the condominium to 51% foreigner, it's not possible. The foreigners here cannot influence how Thai people live. They're happy to take our money, but they don't want us taking over their society. And what's wrong with that? Does anybody turn around and say, well, those Thais are racist? They should let these people in. They should let all these people in and take over their country because that's what good people do. Bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and we not only do that, we can you I guess you can't I guess you cannot go into Thailand and claim refugee status. Or can you? Are there any? Yeah.
No. Thais don't give a shit. Thais will throw you right out. Thailand's for Thai people. We're only guests here.
And I wonder why, Europe and why is it Europe and America and countries that are populated with Europeans, why are they the ones that are the ones who take the burden of the most refugees? And what do we get? How do they repay us? They call us white supremacists and racist.
Well, tell me how many refugees Saudi Arabia's taken in.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that many.
I don't think any. How about Dubai? Dubai taking in any refugees? They putting them up in $1 million mansions and giving them casino credits? I don't think so.
Yeah, and what? Yeah,
people like Darren that say, I know more Muslims than Jews. I like my Muslim friends very much. But I wonder if his Muslim friends would say the same thing about Darren, or if they just laugh behind his back at the fat man with alcohol on his breath opening the door for him.
No? Well, I'll say this.
Again, you live in a black neighborhood, Mr. Midnight Movie?
No.
You live in a white neighborhood, don't you?
That is correct.
Would you like to go live in Compton?
Never. Have you ever lived in a black neighborhood?
How about that area? I'm sorry, what was that?
Have you ever lived in a black neighborhood?
I have lived with black people. I have lived in a Jewish neighborhood in Philadelphia that was turning black. As it turned black, the crime went up. It wasn't safe to walk the streets anymore. It was when the Jews owned all the houses. You never had a fear of getting mugged when you were in a Jewish neighborhood. Did you ever hear of Jews mugging people?
No.
Why is that? So even a poor Jew down on his luck, did you ever hear of a Jew mugging people? Yet, the Jewish neighborhood, I'll tell you what it is, it's called Overbrook Park. Overbrook Park. That is on the western edge of Philadelphia. It's in the Philadelphia city limits. It has now turned black. It is a shithole. It used to be row homes, twins or row homes that were owned by Jews. And when that neighborhood turned black, it turned into a shithole. Anybody who could get out of there got out of there. Most of the people who stayed couldn't get out. That's the kind of place that you buy yourself a nice house cheap, because no one's going to pay big money for that, and you turn it into Section 8 housing. and then you get your money from the government so that you can put people in there who don't pay for the rent. But your rent's guaranteed.
Yeah, well, that's what you got to do nowadays.
So back to that switch, Mr. Midnight Movie. You've got the ability to divert. If you do nothing, the Jewish synagogue gets shot up by a crazy Australian, and he's going to do the same thing to the mosque. But you can flip the switch, left or right. Left, he goes and shoots up the synagogue. Right, he goes and shoots up the mosque. And you're not going to make a choice? You're not going to say to yourself, who's worth saving more? The Muslims who want to take over my country, or the Jews who don't?
I would not play that game.
No, you're afraid to say it. I'll tell you right now, I'm flipping the switch over to the mosque. And it doesn't matter whether the left-hand side was a church. I'm flipping the switch over to the mosque. Sorry, Mohammedans, you're going to get shot. Can't do anything about it, but I just made it so that the church doesn't get shot. I'm flipping the switch to the right. Tell me I'm wrong.
That is a hypothetical that is, in my opinion, a little bit vicious to bring up.
It's a hypothetical. Tell me I'm wrong, and tell me why.
You're wrong to bring up that, and you're wrong to bring up that scenario.
Why?
Why? Because it's insensitive to those people, and usually I'm not that way, but it is insensitive to people.
Yeah, it's very, wait a minute. It's very insensitive. They're going to get shot. I'm flipping the switch. And the people who are not going to get shot are the people in the church. I'm diverting from the church to the mosque. I'm making a choice. My choice is that the Muslims go. Sorry, I think you've got less value than the people in the church. I'm going to take the people in the church. I'm going to take a black church over a Muslim mosque. I'm going to flip the switch from a black church to a Muslim mosque. Again, tell me I'm wrong.
That scenario is rather cruel. And
why is that cruel? It's Sophie's choice.
Yes.
I'm giving you Sophie's choice right here on Blog Talk Radio. Right here in 2019, you're getting Sophie's choice.
Yeah.
And a church full of black people versus a mosque full of Muslims. I'm giving the Muslims over to the killer. I'm not going to let him kill the black people. Nope, you're going to have to go do the Muslims. I don't have a choice. You're going both places or you're going to go one. I'm flipping the switch over to the mosque. Why am I wrong?
By the way, some individuals are coming in late.
No. You want hard-hitting radio. You want to do real radio. Then I'll tell you what. Answer my question. Because my question is a real question. I think and there's nothing wrong with my question. Who do you value more? Are you going to tell me that you value equally Muslims versus black people, black Americans? Which one? Who do you value more? And stop the mouse clicking. It's driving your listeners crazy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
Well, get yourself a quieter mouth. Now answer my question. Which one do you value more? Do you place more value on the church full of black people singing, what is it, the gospel music? They're singing gospel music. Or the Muslim, prayers to kill the Jews. Or would you rather have some gospel music? Which one are you making a choice on? You want to choose the people. You want to choose the people that want to kill you, or you want to choose the people that want to sing?
Yeah, I would not make a. I'm not even. I'm sorry. I'm not going to answer a hypothetical like that because it's insensitive. And there's,
Of course it's insensitive. Someone's going to die. I'm talking about life and death. But you can make a choice. Which one do you choose?
I would choose to opt out of that hypothetical question.
Then they both die. Now you're responsible for the death of the Black Church.
I would because I wouldn't play it. I would be responsible for both of their deaths because I would not choose. I would not choose either.
So no, wait a minute. So to be politically correct, you would let the black people singing gospel music die.
You know what? If that were the scenario, I would think the person was crazy and I would just walk away and go to the bathroom.
You're afraid to answer the question. Just admit it.
I'm not afraid
You're
to answer
afraid. Answer my question.
No, I feel that the question... No, I feel... Look, I do inflammatory talk, but I feel that question is...
You think this is too inflammatory? I'm a blowtorch. I'm giving you inflammatory talk on steroids. Yeah. I'm giving you the blowtorch of inflammatory talk.
You're not
You got it right on a plate. It's on a plate in front of you. I gave it to you.
Yeah, no, you are absolutely burning. You're not just burning down the house. You're burning down the entire neighborhood. This is and absolutely. I would not that scenario. I would not go for it. No way would I go for that scenario, folks. If you're just joining us,
what are you afraid of? No. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid will happen if you answer that truthfully?
We are on Blog Talk Radio right now. Well, if someone wants to call in, if there's anybody that wants to call in, I'm putting the thing in Skype. If somebody wants to call in and answer that question, feel free and answer that question. Or if they have anything to add to the show, feel free and do so. So,
well, we only have 9 minutes left.
Yes.
Oh, do it now.
Yes, do it now.
Well, do you think maybe we can put that question to the Jewish producer? Who are you going to save? You going to save Black Church, or are you going to save the Muslims?
He's going to have a cheeseburger.
Yeah, you don't want me to start getting on a tangent here about the constructs.
This is not a tangent. This is inflammatory talk. If you want inflammatory talk, you're getting it from the one every Jew, and you're getting it in spades.
Well, let's hear more. What do you think is so inflammatory about it, Mr. Midnight Movie?
I think the question, it's a hypothetical of things that...
Can you paraphrase for the audience?
It's hypothetical and a question that could not happen. It's not like... it's not like I have, it's not like immigration. It's not like build the wall. It's not, it's nothing that I would ever have any control over. I may have some control as a voter on the wall being built, on immigration, on even expelling people from our country, even not allowing people into our country, and even expelling people from Europe, because I do have a voice and this is a radio show and stuff like that, or expelling people out of a country. But murder, who would I prefer? I mean, if you ask me a question on who I would prefer coming into the country and who we should allow, that's a different scenario. But, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
did you hear my question?
What's your question?
No, I'm asking my son whether he heard my question. I don't know how he couldn't. I've been yelling it. It's only a one-bedroom condo. It's not that far away. The question is, you have the ability to divert a killer like they had 2 days ago in New Zealand, you have the ability to flick a switch. If you don't flick the switch, the killer's going to go kill everybody in a black church, and he's going to kill everybody in a Muslim mosque. If you can, and you can flip the switch from one side to the other, choose who dies.
What was that
movie? What are
movie?
you going to choose? Are you going to choose the Muslims or the blacks?
Is Tom Cruise going to come out and annihilate or be annihilated and all in the middle of the action here? I mean, what kind of scenario is this?
Yeah, I want Tom Cruise to annihilate the killer now.
There we go.
If you don't make a choice, they both.
I reeled that little kid in.
Die. The church gets shot up and the mosque. You have to make a choice. Black people church or Muslim mosque?
Hail Scientology.
My son is not as inflammatory as I am. I'll have to work on it. Mm-hmm. So do you feel you've been reprieved as a midnight movie? Am I a Jewish producer? You have no answer to that question?
You know what? I am 150% against a technocracy, and a technocracy has already kind of tried to, pull its evil, dirty hands all over us. I mean, look at Apple and Microsoft are basically the same company. Don't tell me they're not. These two companies are so intertangled. The appearance of them having a rivalry now is almost impossible to detect. So my answer would be no. I don't want to see that happen. Of course not. That's ridiculous.
So you have no answer.
I just answered it.
You're afraid to answer the question.
I just answered it. You can only have it one way or the other. I'm saying without.
No, that's not a choice. You've got to choose. Who gets shot up? The mosque or the black church?
No, I can't even take a side on that. Sorry. I can't take a side on that. Sorry. I abstain then from your weird question.
Okay, well then you've just consigned to death the people in the black church.
No, I would absolutely state that I am my silence by no means by no means
your silence causes more death.
I will still fight the technocracy.
I'm giving you Sophie's Choice right here on Blog Talk Radio.
Mr. Midnight Movie, you have 3 minutes to answer this question.
All right. By the way, there's someone. Her name will be nameless, but she says, "I have no time for BS or politeness. I'm a grown woman and a mother. These are not times to be polite. I don't care if I hurt your feelings. I'm an activist, and I wish and fight for humanity and our planet and our future generations."
Who is that?
And And I am also scared to. I am also not scared to tell people to fuck off. You're on Team Planet Earth, and make peace and show respect and try to save our mother, or you're an idiot. Wars hurt us all. Imagine all the people sharing all of the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. That was January Thomas that said that. Do you have anything to say to that?
Do you think that Star Trek was wrong when they deactivated the Borg?
Star Trek did so much harm for society, it's not even funny. They are the ones that gave us an idea. They told us what space would look like, what a spaceship should look like, what aliens will look like when we find them. They filled our minds with more damaging information than I'd care to examine at this point. We only have less than a minute.
To boldly go where no man has gone before. Thank you.
Up the asshole of the universe, Uranus.
Thank you for listening, everybody.
Well, folks, this is the best show on
Jewish
Blog Talk
producers,
and the best show on the
Uncle
internet.
Maury's choice.
More inflammatory, Mr. Midnight.
Nobody
Uncle Maury's choice.
like inflammatory talk. Shut up. And Mr. Midnight Movie. Shut up. And Jewish producer.
Stay tuned for Uncle Maury's choice.
Straight.
I'm going to have a show called Uncle Maury's Choice.
Hello, son. Hello, son. Stop walking on eggshells. Shut up. Hello, son.